Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I have a sign in my little movement space downstairs where I teach, and it has a hand-drawn yin-yang symbol on it. And I wrote the words, do the work, above that, because one thing we do in the movement studio is my friends and I get together who have studied this one little, well, not little, but this one art called non-classical Kung Fu, started by Jesse Glover, who was one of Bruce Lee's first student in Seattle. And so we get together and hit pads and do some sticking and a few things from that art. And our teacher, who no longer lives here, we see every once in a while, he liked to say, do the work, you know. And he would say that, you know, when he got started at this art, that he wasn't sure he was going to succeed, and he wasn't sure if he was going to get good at it, but he knew one thing, in that he wasn't going to fail because he wasn't willing to do the work. He wasn't going to fail because he didn't do the work. So this style does involve putting in work. It's a few simple things done over and over and over and over and over and over. So they really drill into your system. So yeah, I wrote do the work. And our teacher, he came to visit recently, and he came in the studio and he saw that on the wetboard there, the yin-yang sign and the do the work. And the first thing he did was he just picked up the marker and he just put quote marks on either side of the do the work. So I just thought that was great, because this gentleman has personality. He's a character, and I love that. He was sort of saying, yeah, well, I said this. And so I was looking at it for a while, and, you know, the studio is also a tango studio. My wife teaches tango, and we both had a kind of a slightly nagging feeling about the do the work. Yes, doing tango is work, and doing Tai Chi, Kung Fu, or any martial art is you got to put in the work. But if all you do is work, that's not necessarily good either. So I decided, since the yin-yang symbol on my wetboard there, the white is on the left and the black is on the right. So the yin is on the right, circling under, and the yang is on the left, swinging up. And it just so happens that the do the work was across the top. And so I just wrote relax on the bottom corner, on the yin corner where the dark thing comes in, and put some quotation marks around that. And then I started, you know, talking with my students about this, and I was saying, you see, you want to ask yourself continually, how relaxed can I be and still do my work? How much of my work can I do and still be relaxed? Can I balance that out so that I'm as relaxed as I can be and getting as much work done as I can, and I'm getting as much work as I can get done and still be relaxed? And of course, this is a Tai Chi question, not necessarily a Tai Chi Chuan, the martial art question, but Tai Chi. Tai Chi just means the you know, unforced balance of yin and yang energies that you see in the symbol. It's a primordial underlying state of yin and yang in a dynamic conversation, and it points the way to resolution of any polar opposites. It's the balancing of polars. It's not black versus white. It's black doesn't exist without white. They are in a conversation, and that's the way nature does it. And our most harmonious way is not to fight for one side or the other, but to fight for a dynamic balance between the two. Therefore, it's not just about work, and it's just about slack. It's how much work can you do and still be relaxed? How relaxed can you be and still do your work? So you can apply these sort of Tai Chi balance questions to all kinds of things. How honest can I be and still be kind? How kind can I be and still be honest? There's no answer to these questions. In every moment there's a different, you know, no one lives in the perfect default of, you know, defaults to the perfect yin-yang balance. We're continually shifting too much yes, too much no, and we're aiming for maybe. We're aiming for a state where we can go to yes or no equally easily. We can go to firm or soft equally easily. And when that time is done, default back to a kind of a maybe balanced state. This is the ideal of every athlete. You want to be in that neutral maybe until it's time to commit. And you're committing to, say, advancing or retreating, to setting up something or doing something, something yin, something yang. But when that's over, if you keep doing that, you're going to lose. You have to adapt, and you have to get back to a place where you can go either direction. And, for martial arts, you might go back to that maybe place 1,000 times in a 3-minute ring or in a 2-minute fight. In between, your body and you're deciding what to do next, and if you're stuck in the previous movement, it's going to be a liability. So you want to cultivate that maybe as the default, and then you retreat, advance, strike, neutralize. But in between there, you're coming to a brief millisecond of ready for the next thing, because like in sports and in martial arts and in daily life, it's just not quite as obvious, but things are constantly changing and giving no warning usually. So So how honest can I be and still be kind? How kind can I be and still be honest? How mobile can I be and still be stable? How stable can I be and still be mobile? How competitive can I be and still be cooperative? How cooperative can I be and still be competitive? How much can I care for other people and still care for myself? How much can I care for myself and still care for other people? How strong can I be and still be flexible? How flexible can I be? I want this hand on camera. There we go. How flexible can I be and still be strong? I'm sounding like William Shatner here. How civilized can I be and still be wild? Yeah. How wild can I be and still be civilized? How firm can I be and still be soft? That's the ultimate, that's yin and yang. How yin can I be and still be yang? How yang can I be and still be yin? So I want to see both of those things in evidence in a balanced situation. When I see it tipping in one direction or another, that's where I'm going, uh-oh, are they going to default back to a maybe and then go back to the teeter-totter, or are they just going to keep going? Just going to keep going to that extreme. You see people that are working too hard. They're working too hard. They're not relaxing. They're not taking care of themselves. They're just working too hard. They're pushing themselves too hard. And you can tell injuries are coming, right? And there's other people who don't work enough. You can tell they're just not putting in the work. They're hoping for rescue, or they're whining, or they're complaining, or they're doing the barest minimum, and then they're not getting the results they want. Well, injuries are coming if you do that. You gotta be asking these questions if you want to be healthy. You gotta ask, how much of both can I be? Not one or the other. You might even dare yourself to say, how liberal can I be and still be conservative? How conservative can I be and still be liberal? And by that I mean, how much can I want my government to look out for the interests of the individual versus how much do I want it to look out for the interests of the collective? It isn't one versus the other. It doesn't have to be. It isn't all one or all the other. On some issues at some time, the dial needs to go one direction or the other. And if you have a maybe attitude, you can maybe agree with one side on this issue and maybe on this side on another issue. You can have a dynamic conversation. That was more possible in the old days before the internet binaried everything into cool or sucks, red or blue, traitors or patriots. Unfortunate, but the Taoist way is not to look at it that way. It's all purple, baby. Little Richard had it right from the start. Oh, my favorite Little Richard quote. He leans into the camera, he takes down the glasses. He's been talking about how he was the originator of everything, and he put his glasses down and he looked at the camera and he said, "Prince, honey, I was wearing purple before you were born." It's the honey that killed me. But seriously, the universe can say, dude, I've been wearing purple since before your planet was born. So it's a good thing to ask yourself, can you weigh these things and ask yourself, how much of one can I hold and still hold on to the other? Back and forth. And you might move closer to balance, and you might have a healthier, happier, longer life. So those are my Tai Chi questions. I call them Tai Chi questions or Taoist questions. How much of this can you be and still be that? So give it a try, man. Maybe you can think of some of your own, and they might unlock some secrets for you, just like they've done for me. So take good care. I hope you like this kind of thing. I do these things periodically, Tai Chi type videos, a lot of music videos, nature video now and then, and post them up here free. If you'd like to contribute a little bit to this effort and help keep me in the black, there's a donation PayPal link below this video, and also there's one on my website as well. And all my albums are free on the website, so there's tip jars over there. All my videos have this little tip jar option for you. If you want to kick in a few bucks or a lot of bucks, it's okay with me. But if not, it's also okay with me. I'm doing this to be useful, and this isn't how I make a living. So if you find any of this useful or helpful, it's always nice to hear that too. So take good care, good luck with your training, and we'll see you down the line.